Hello everyone, this is Critic giving you Game 5 in a best of 5 series between Empire DieStar and mouz Morrow here on Metalopolis. mouz Morrow spawning as the green Zerg at the 9 o'clock position, meanwhile DieStar spawning as the purple Terran, and this is, like I said, Game 5 in a best of 5 series. This is, Go4SC2 number 79 final. Yes. And if you haven't already, check out their website. I believe they have weekly tournaments, and I thank them so much for giving me or hosting these replays up so that people can download them and you guys can watch them alongside and watch them with me as I try to cast these games as if they were live. Empire DieStar is currently setting up a 10 supply depot over here on the front door. Meanwhile, pretty standard build coming in from mouz Morrow. Morrow now looking like he's going to be setting up a hatchery. No, just setting up that overlord over there in just a moment. We'll see if he goes for extractor, spawning pool, or hatchery first. Both three are very viable options in the game, as extractor first normally leads into a spawning pool. Hatchery first also normally leads into a spawning pool. And I guess spawning pool first just allows for the addition or the training of a very, very fast queen. Barracks now being set up over here. And do we have a refinery? No, not quite yet. There we go. There's that refinery at that 13 food point. So a pretty standard build coming in from DieStar. DieStar hasn't really changed up his strategy very much. We'll see if he does change up his strategy or if mouz Morrow changes up his strategy. Both players have pretty much been pretty consistent in what they've gone for so far. In going, normally I believe DieStar likes to go Marines into Hellions, into Marine medevac siege tank with a little bit of Hellion support. Meanwhile, I've seen mouz Morrow go for a lot of Zerglings, a lot of Mutalisks, and a lot of Banelings. Not too much of the other spellcasters from the Zerg. No Infestors. And, well, if you count Queens as a spellcaster, then yes, obviously Queens, but that's pretty much it. A drone now able to sneak its way through, get inside the base, preventing the blocking on this one supply depot here. And now, oh, the Marine coming down and then moving to the wrong side of the map. So what is this Marine doing? The Marine already making the trek out, and perhaps we will see a bunker on the front door. So if we have an engineering bay bunker, that may actually work out fairly well. One overlord now trying to hide away. It looks like this Marine and perhaps knows that the overlord is somewhere over here, and now going after this overlord. The overlord is in the air. It is going to have a very difficult time. Now just going to run straight for the open vast expanse over here. I believe it will be able to escape. The Marine trying to catch up, trying to shoot it down. It looks like it's going to get a couple of shots, perhaps get it into the low 50s, and then no, not even the low 50s. The Marine unable to get any more damage as that overlord is now over this cityscape, pretty safe from the rest of these as there is no buildings there. Back over here, drones now making their way down here, establishing this natural expansion. We are getting a factory. The factory is nearly up, and now a second command center is currently being built. Oh no, the drone was able to block it. So nicely done there. DieStar not getting up that second command center just quite yet. There we go. Finally gets it down, delaying it a couple seconds. Shouldn't have too much of a big impact on this game as that drone just wandering around. There is one Marine now down over here. It will make short work of that drone as it has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And Morrow now establishing a spine crawler here, preventing any Hellions from easily getting inside this base unless they take some damage as well. We now see Marines making the long trek across the map in addition to one Hellion, and SCV now returning from a very long, hard day of scouting and able to return home and mine more minerals. Excuse me as some random things fell off my pushboard. Okay, back over here, we now see one Hellion just waiting outside the natural expansion. There is two Marines following it up. The Hellion gonna try to press in, and oh, Morrow just unrooting his units at just the wrong time. However, that spine crawler does have a decent amount of armor, and by the time it roots, yeah, it only took 3 points of damage. As Hellions are not very good against very heavily armored buildings or non-light units in general, especially armored units with a base 2. They only deal 4 damage per attack or 6 damage per attack. And based upon the slow attack rate, might as well just be 5, as the spine crawler is able to regenerate hit points, and while they are rooted in the ground here, that spine crawler already back up to full hit points. Command center now being transferred over here to the low ground. Expansions being set up very early. So very decent expansions already very fast expansions already being set up by both players. You can see now reactors are being set up by DieStar, so it's going to be double reactor with a tech lab. He should be opting to go for combat shields and stim pack in just a moment, gaining that additional refinery as well, as he is going to be macroing up a very large army. The problem is going to be whether or not he has enough gas to support this army. And at least for the tech side, he still needs stim pack, he still needs combat shield, and he still needs concussive shells with marauders. Otherwise, he's going to simply fall to banelings. You can see, though, that there's currently a spire in play and no banelings nest down, which is a bit of a surprise coming in from Morrow, knowing as Morrow knows that his opponent really likes to go more of a marine style of play. Banelings have helped him in the past, and now 8 marines now jumping straight into that medevac there and looking to do some damage. There are overlords generating creep over off on this side as well. It looks like they will be able to intercept or at least spot this one medevac as it makes the trek over, and this is without stim pack. So this is going to be very, very difficult for him. The medevac now perhaps just going to elevator drop into this location here, just try to drop down, take down these overlords. Yeah, that overlord is going to get shot down very, very easily there. So 8 marines quickly dealing that damage, and now more marines coming in. Marines going to jump into the medevac here. They need to jump in. There we go. Losing 1 marine. And now perhaps going to drop down once again. They're going to pick up the rest of those units as those marines are on the low ground, able to shoo away and get some damage as well. So all the medevac needs to do is just try to an elevator, drop some units. There are marines on the low ground offering a little bit of support here. So now these medevacs, or the marines on the low ground and on the high ground, making it so that it's very, very difficult. I like this play by DieStar. DieStar will be able to use marines, and it's going to force the Zergling army to split up. If there are units on the high ground, he just picks it up and then makes it so that those low ground units are able to fire at him. But now in comes a swarm, in comes a surround with those Mutalisks in the air as well, and this is going to be a problem for DieStar. DieStar is in a little bit of trouble. A lot of marines on the low ground. Finally, stim pack has been completed, trying to finish off the rest of those Zerglings. Zerglings are going to get a decent surround on those marines, and down it goes. 5 Mutalisks now in the air, giving chase towards that one medevac. Medevac will be able to escape. Marines now making a long trek home. Engineering bay is now currently being built in order to get some missile turrets. We can see that we are currently sitting at 100 gas, so we should be getting either the combat shield up momentarily, as we have a large group of Marines once again on the move. All of this off of 2 gas play. These 2 refineries are yet to be placed down until I spoke. 1 refinery currently being built, the 2nd refinery still currently absent, and DieStar was sitting on a large amount of minerals, but not that much gas. We can see the Marines now once again coming in to deal more damage. Zerglings are going to quickly swarm in, and wow, catching many of those units off guard. The Mutalisks will be able to finish off those very expensive medevacs, and down they go. DieStar is in trouble. DieStar going to lose his 2 attacking units once again, and now we have a very large army of Mutalisks and Zerglings in the air. There are a lot of barracks currently in production, and I'm still surprised that Morrow has not transitioned into banelings. We can see a lot of Marines down here on the low ground. Army-wise, a 1,000 mineral army versus 1,900 mineral, but it's 1,100 gas versus 100. So DieStar's, all of his gas rides on 1 medevac, and the medevac can only heal 1 unit at a time. And those Marines a lot of those Marines are going to be taking a fair amount of damage. We can see a dozen or so Mutalisks now in the air. Was I short? Yes, short by 1. So 11 Mutalisks now in the air, with addition to Zerglings on the ground. Zerg level 1 missile attack for the air, or Zerg flyer attack, in addition to the Zerg level 1 claw or level 2 claw upgrades currently being researched. That is going to help increase the damage even further for those Zerglings. Those Zerglings are going to be able to rip through those Marines, especially if those Marines are trying to focus down those Mutalisks and not dealing with that ever-present or just dealing with the swarm of the Zerg on the ground. You can see the Baneling nest has been placed down, movement speed upgrade now being researched, so we should be seeing some Banelings joining the army. And with the sheer number of barracks that DieStar has and his current production, this will be able to deal a lot of damage. No concussive shell research just quite yet. More supply depots still being placed down in order to try to unsupply lock himself. A large group of Marauders and Marines in a very tight ball. That is what every Baneling hopes for and hopes to see. 1 Marine now making the trek over here, quickly sees that there is nothing there. Another command center being built off on that low ground will be raised, but now in comes some Mutalisks. Mutalisks trying to get in some damage. There is 1 missile turret here, and those missile turrets able to pick off that factory at a very decent distance. Marines now coming in to try to shoo it away, and now those mutalisks backing off once again. But those mutalisks at this stage are just everywhere at once, able to deal so much damage. SCVs perhaps being transferred, repairing this refinery over here, getting up a tech lab in order to build some Thors, as Thors is the only true counter right now towards the sheer number of mutalisks that are in the air. Also, the armory will allow... Is he going to go for... Actually, I'm not sure if he's going to go for Thors anymore. I take that back. I don't see an armory down, and he does have level 1, I believe, weapons upgrade on his units, but that is it. No armor upgrades at all, especially when you consider that the Zerglings have 2 0 upgrades and the Mutalisks have 1 0 upgrades. Those Banelings will be able to do, what, 43 damage per attack, or per explosion there, nearly killing a Marine in one blast after it uses a stim pack. Banelings now rolling their way through, and now those Marines need to separate, but no, all those Marines are going to simply get melted there. And now a lot of Marines just simply falling to the wayside. Army, you can see Morrow is currently in the lead, 22-25 versus 1300. Mutalisks continuing to give chase against those medevacs that are in the air. One poor Marine activating that Zelnaga Watchtower will get cleaned up. And now, Morrow can just sit back and relax a little bit, knowing that he's running off of 4 bases compared to the current 2 bases of DieStar. He doesn't have any SCVs transferred over just quite yet. Now transferring over 11 SCVs and 2 mules in order to get some more minerals. Mutalisks quickly going to finish off these missile turrets here. Now going to look to deal more damage. Marines now trying to come in as well. Mutalisks backing off, able to barely escape to see the light of another day, even though the sun never rises here on Metalopolis. We now currently have a Thor being trained, so Thors are being trained. Level 1 armor upgrades currently for those Marines. We may also get additional +1 upgrades for those Marines, or +2 missile upgrades, 2 range upgrades, excuse me, for those Marines. Marines are going to be able to deal 8 damage on attack once that armory is What's the Terran? Where is that engineering bay? I am losing it. That one over here, no, it doesn't look like the level 2 weapons upgrade will be completed anytime soon, not even queued up here. DieStar currently sitting on 57 SCVs compared to 94 drones by Morrow. Very, very impressive SCV saturation over here at the high ground expansion on the bottom right hand side. But I do not believe that DieStar realizes the sheer macro that Morrow is currently able to bring in. 2,500 minerals every minute. He's able to replace his very large army pretty consistently. So this is going to boil down to who's able to deal more damage first. The Mutalisks quickly coming in, trying to fight back against a missile turret. 2 missile turrets quickly getting shot down there, and now going after some of those key buildings. Marines now trying to run in, trying to get some damage onto those Mutalisks, but that Mutalisk ball is so large. As soon as those Mutalisks back off, I believe these Zerglings may try to pressure. No, Zerglings gonna grow up into Banelings first, and now 11 Banelings already ready. Zerglings now trying to come in, and now those Zerglings coming in to try to swarm. Banelings quickly exploding, trying to take down the rest of those SCVs, getting a lot of damage dealt, but not taking down anything else. That one Baneling quickly getting taken down there, and now SCVs have been salvaged and saved. So DieStar lucking out a little bit there, but the Mutalisks are now back once again to fight another day. In comes a Thor. That Thor getting a round of Javelin missile launchers, 2 rounds of Javelin missile launchers as those Marines continue to give chase, and now Mutalisks backing off once again. At this point, I'm kind of curious as to why Morrow hasn't decided to take this high ground expansion. This high ground expansion with the rich mineral fields, and he pretty much has every expansion on the north side of the map. We can now see siege tanks. Thors are getting ready. Those siege tanks, however, could have sieged up here to deal damage towards those towards these mineral patches, so I guess that was a safe call in order to not expand there. Banelings trying to act as like a landmine, but being remote detonated by Thor's hammer. Marines and now siege tanks continue to move and slowly press their way forward. We have infestors in this group, and the infestors are going to get off some fungal growths here, and fungal growths onto some of those Marines. Fungal growth stopping those Marines in their tracks, getting a lot of damage dealt, but many of those Banelings were unable to detonate on their target, and that is an issue. 2100 versus 1450. You can see that those Mutalisks are trying to give chase towards the rest of those Thors over here. Another fungal growth would be absolutely key, but he couldn't get within combat range, especially as those siege tanks deal the full damage against those infestors. Infestors are armored units. We can now see a command center trying to be established over here. I believe DieStar will be able to mine out of here in just a moment. Siege tanks sieging up, offering some protection already, cleaning up many of these creep tumors down over here, and the game is now starting to slowly transition into a game that's more favorable to DieStar. If DieStar is able to call down mules, get a strong economy going, perhaps get a planetary fortress up here and hold it, he will be able to macro back up and perhaps get into this game. The current army size, though, is just so much in favor of Morrow that Morrow can simply just attack move with his units and replenish his army much more easily. I believe he's mining at twice the rate and almost 3 times the rate and has twice the army size. Zerglings now lying in wait. They are upgraded 2-2. We are now teching into tier 3 hive tech coming online for Morrow. Morrow now moving out with these Zerglings. Zerglings are going to simply swarm in here. And now that's a lot of Banelings. Taking a look at Morrow's Baneling count. 3 control groups of Banelings. Or maybe now 3 control groups of, or 2 control groups of Banelings, as those Banelings are simply going to try to run in here. Banelings now going to walk up that ramp or roll up that ramp, perhaps go after some of those key buildings. A lot of those Banelings can just detonate, dealing damage towards those supply depots, perhaps trying to supply log. Zerglings now coming in. Siege tanks now trying to come back and reinforce, but those Zerglings are just walking up the ramp now, taking down much of the key tech. If they're able to take down those missile turrets as well, going after some of those SCVs. SCVs quickly getting taken down as well, but a lot of the Mulists have been finished off. More Banelings just rolling straight into those SCVs over here that were trying to mine gas. This orbital command send 3 Banelings in just to make it stop. And now we see the engineering bay level 2 weapons upgrade will quickly get taken down, not finishing researching at all. And now the Zerglings going after that orbital command here. Banelings just dancing back and forth inside the main base. Siege tanks now trying to make their way over as well. The Banelings, however, going to start splashing, getting some key damage onto some of those siege tanks. Siege tanks now, many of them in the red. Army-wise, 2,800 versus 2,200, but the sheer production ability of DieStar has crawled to a halt. 36 harvesters compared to 86. We have corruptors in the air, and I believe we are getting the greater spire, so we are looking to get broodlords. And there is currently no reactor on the starport, and now Baneling simply going to try to come in and perhaps try to finish off the starport. Yeah, taking down that reactor there once again, and now going after that factory, going after those key buildings. Should have tried to look at which buildings would have started burning. I believe that factory would have started burning if he tried to detonate it on that one. Siege tanks now on the move. There is a Thor. The Thor do not have any weapons upgrade. The Greater Spire needs another minute or so, but I don't know if the game will last that long. There are a lot of Zerglings and Banelings lying in wait to deal more damage. Banelings going to simply walk up this ramp now. Zerglings getting focused by that Planetary Fortress, and the Planetary Fortress quickly gets shut down by Banelings. Banelings dealing so much damage. I believe they are dealing, was it 90 damage? I can't tell because it's currently being blocked by my timer over here. We have 2 Banelings currently being burrowed, so if any units try to wait outside there, those Banelings will give them a nasty surprise. Siege tanks now will be able to start dealing damage towards this hatchery on this high ground. Siege tanks not even in siege mode. Siege tanks out of siege mode do deal more damage. Zerglings now coming in for the swarm, getting a lot of damage. There's that fungal growth, and now DieStar unable to retreat with any of his units, losing much of his army once again. Siege tank, 1 siege tank in the very front, down to 17 hit points. More Zerglings and Banelings may come in just a moment. Marines now stimming in, will be able to take down this hatchery, but Broodlings will come out and perhaps get some damage onto that siege tank. No, not enough to shut it down there. Banelings still sitting out over here at the front door, not too much damage being dealt at all. DieStar now continuing to move out with his units. 5250 versus 1800, and now in come the Broodlords. 8 Broodlords quickly coming in, finishing off many of those units, and now DieStar says GG, and Mouse Morrow wins Game 5 in this best of 5 series between Empire DieStar and Mouse Morrow. Go4SC2 number 79 finals, Game 5. Very exciting game here on Metalopolis. Really was back and forth for a while, but towards the end, as soon as Morrow just expanded over half the map, he had such a dominant lead that there was nothing really DieStar could do. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between DieStar and Mouse Morrow here on Metalopolis.